Zurich was the first city where I lived when I first came to Switzerland. Here I studied, worked, defended my PhD, studied languages, and there was a lot more during the last 10 years. Hi everyone, my name is Lisa and we are in Zurich today. Zurich is the largest city in Switzerland. The population of the city is almost 435,000 people and about 30% are foreigners. The city is located in north-central Switzerland at the northwestern tip of Lake Zurich. Zurich is situated at about 400 meters above sea level. Well, more precisely, the lowest point of the city is at 392 meters above sea level, while the highest, the peak of the Uetliberg mountain, is 871 meters. Zurich is the capital of the German-speaking canton of Zurich. The city has almost everything: beautiful architecture, interesting museums, many parks, restaurants and shop windows with expensive watches, well-known banks, famous universities, highly developed infrastructure. This is all about Zurich. So let's start our walk from my favorite place, from Poly Terrace, large terrace directly beside the ETH, Federal Institute of Technology, right where I studied. The Poly Terrace offers top view over Zurich's old town. Look at it. ETH is not only the most prestigious technical university in Switzerland, but also consistently ranks among the best universities in the world. According to QS World University Rankings for 2021, ETH is ranked the 6th in the world, behind only a few universities in the US and Oxford in the UK. I will definitely shoot a separate video about ETH, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe to my channel. The button is right below the video. Usually in winter, a small ice rink was organized at the Poly Terrace, but now, due to quarantine, everything is empty. Let's see how things are going inside. Everywhere there are reminders of keeping the distance, and even special stickers are pasted on the floor. By the way, earlier here there were no such organized places to study. The building next to the ETH is the University of Zurich. The largest faculty here is philosophy, where almost half of all students study. The faculties of medicine, law and economics are well known all over the world. In the world ranking, the University of Zurich ranks 69th. Zurich is an amazing city. Look, figs grow in January, and even the cold and strong wind doesn't bother them. By the way, in addition to figs, you can also try legal cannabis in Switzerland, but only those containing no more than 1% THC. The Swiss National Museum is located in a castle near the main station of Zurich. Despite the fact that the castle looks quite ancient, it was built not so long ago, in 1898. The museum is very interesting, where you can study the history of Switzerland from prehistoric times and Celtic settlements to the modern era. The main station in Zurich is the largest railway station in Switzerland. It opened in 1847 when the first train in country went to the route Zurich-Baden. Before the pandemic, there were always some events in the lobby of the station. On the Christmas Eve, one of the best Christmas markets in the country takes place here, and a huge Christmas tree is installed in the center of the hall, decorated with Swarovski crystals. A figure of a woman with golden wings hovers under the ceiling of the building. This is the angel, done by French artist Niki de Saint-Foy. The angel was a gift from the insurance companies for the 150th anniversary of the Swiss railways. The sculpture weighs over a ton and is over 11 meters long. People like to appoint a meeting point at the train station under this angel. Sprungli, the renowned Swiss chocolate and confectionery company, of course cannot be passed by. A statue of Alfred Escher is installed in front of the entrance to the main railway station. This is a man who's done a lot for Switzerland. He is the founder of Swiss banks, large insurance companies, as well as the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, ETH Zurich. And on top of that, he also did a lot for the development of the Swiss railway network. For example, he initiated the construction of the Gotthard Railway. From the main station, there is a large shopping street, Bahnhofstrasse, famous all over the world. Its length is almost 1.5 kilometers. By the way, in general, it is not allowed to drive along Bahnhofstrasse, only trams run here. On the square in front of the Globus store, there is a monument to the world-famous teacher Pestalozzi, who was born in Zurich. Now we've come to Fallgasse. Here is a copy of tombstone from the ancient Roman era. The inscriptions in Latin confirm that in ancient time the name of Zurich was Turicum. Nearby is the Lindenhof, a square in the summertime shaded by the crown of old linden trees. Hence probably the name. What a magnificent panorama of the city and the river opens from here. The Limmat River flows in Zurich. It flows out of Lake Zurich and divides the city into two parts. On the one side there are the university buildings and the Grossmünster Cathedral, and on the other, the main train station and Lindenhof, where we are now. And over there, obviously, another creator is also showing this beauty to someone. The fountain located here, decorated with a female figure in military uniform, resembles an episode from the history of the city. In the 13th century, the Habsburg army laid siege to Zurich. Many defenders of the city died in the battles. And then the women changed into soldiers' uniforms and climbed the fortress walls. The enemy, seeing so many new fighters, decided that reinforcements had come to Zurich and lifted the siege. In memory of this event, a fountain was installed. Here in the square, people also like to gather to play petanque. Players take turns throwing metal balls, trying to place their ball as close as possible next to a small wooden ball. The winner is the one whose balls at the end of the game will be closer to the wooden one. At Thermengasse, you can see the preserved ruins of Roman baths, which were discovered in the 70s during the reconstruction of one of the buildings. In a narrow alley, there is essentially a free and interesting museum. Now let's talk about the three most important churches in Zurich. They are St. Peter's Church, Grossmünster Cathedral and Fraumünster. St. Peter's Church is the oldest parish church in the city, and the church clock face is the largest in Europe. Their diameter is more than 8.5 meters. Grossmünster is a Protestant church. According to legend, it was founded by Charlemagne after his horse fell to his knees over the grave of Felix and Regula, the patron saints of Zurich. Fraumünster Church, with a pointed tower, was rebuilt several times and in 1970 was decorated with stained glass window by Marc Chagall. By the way, before the entrance was free, but now if you want to admire the stained glass windows, you will have to pay 5 francs. Lake Zurich and the quay is definitely a visiting card of the city. It is crowded at any time of the year. Next to the lake is the Opera House, and in front of it is another remarkable square, Sechsleuten-Platz, where people of Zurich like to relax. There are even chairs here, which can be freely grouped depending on the size of the company. By the way, I read that the price of one such chair is about $500, and there are about 200 of them on the square itself. Today we'll go together to the wonderful town in Switzerland named Zug. This is a town where very often you can hear foreigners in the street. A town that is famous for the production of the legendary schnapps, as well as a place where the old town is nicely combined with modern new buildings. If you are interested to see Zug through my eyes, then keep watching this video. Zug is located in the central Switzerland. It is the capital of the canton with the same name. Zug itself is quite small. The area is approximately 34 square kilometers. This town combines antiquity and modern architecture, commercial and romantic life. Zug has preserved the unique atmosphere of the Middle Ages. And just look, what is a picturesque landscape here! It is believed that today's name, Zug, is closely associated with the main activity of the region at that time, fishing. The name Zug comes from Fischzug, meaning fish draft. So it turned out that the name of the fishing area near the lake became the name for the Swiss town. The Fishing Museum, founded in the heart of Zug in 1888, has collected many interesting exhibits in a compact space. Visitors can observe the life cycle of a fish from eggs to fry in special glass incubators. Young visitors will be interested to see ancient and modern fishing tools. There is even a fully equipped fishing canoe on display. About 30,000 people live in Zug. 30% of them are foreigners. Thanks to low tax rates, the city is really an oasis for international businesses. Currently, more than 20,000 companies are registered in Zug. But let me assure you, the signs of well-known foreign companies are far from all that Zug can boast of. The origins of Zug date back to the 12th century. The city is located at an altitude of 425 meters above sea level on the northeastern shore of Lake Zug and is surrounded by orchards. The embankment offers a picturesque panorama of the Pilatus and Riga mountains. Blue water, verdant surrounding hills, and great opportunities for outdoor activities attract many people. On the embankment, in small open enclosures, well-fed birds clean their feathers and proudly defiled, demonstrating luxurious plumage. Lake Zug is 38 square kilometers in area. Usually calm and peaceful, Lake Zug has repeatedly played a cruel joke with the city. The soil under the city, washed away by the water of the lake, was repeatedly subject to sliding. Several times in half a millennium, the lower streets closest to the lake collapsed. The last time, at the end of the 19th century, 20 houses were underwater. Directly from the lake, a small street leads to the old town. There are many amazing signs and symbols of past eras. Gables of some old houses are decorated with a stepped facade in the style of brick Old German Gothic. The houses stand tightly to each other in small groups, and the town smoothly rises with terraces on the hill. In the center of this cozy town is Kohlenplatz, where the symbol of Zug rises, the 52-meter clock tower Zittturm, one of the 4 surviving towers of the medieval town. By the way, the design has not been preserved in its original form. Under the main clock are astronomical clocks. Take a closer look. 4 arrows can determine what week it is, the phase of the moon, the month, and whether it is a leap year. In the historic district is the building of the old town hall. It was built more than 500 years ago. Many unique design elements were preserved, including tall wooden windows. The building is decorated with exquisite elements of wood carving, which only emphasize its rich appearance. The town hall is a 4-story building. Once on its first floor there was a market. The upper floors have always belonged to the city officials. The defensive towers of Zug, preserved from the Middle Ages, are also of great interest. The most unusual is the old powder tower. The thickness of the wall at the base is 2.7 meters. The building served as a place for safe storage of gunpowder. Till today, the powder tower of Zug has retained its original appearance. In the castle of the 9th century, there is a historical museum of Zug. The medieval building was reconstructed in the Baroque style. There are exhibits reflecting different stages of history and culture. The exposition consists of 3 sections: religious art, urban life, and crafts. Connoisseurs of beauty will appreciate the local Museum of Art, Kunstmuseum. Every year, about 6 exhibitions of contemporary art are held here. Their organization is approached with a special, one might even say distinctive for the Swiss, thoroughness. The authors of the works are also engaged in the preparation, which gives the exhibition a special atmosphere. Liebfrauenkapelle is the oldest church in Zug. It was built in the 13th century at the same time as the city wall. The chapel is located in the center of the old town, where there is a special atmosphere. Perhaps that is why it is a favorite place for wedding ceremonies. An important architectural representative of the late Gothic is the Church of St. Oswald, a massive church with a facade decorated with the faces of saints. The theologian Eberhard, who came from a wealthy Zug family, could afford to finance church construction. The support of the citizens and his extensive connections made it possible to actively raise money for construction of the church and the acquisition of the important relics. The mild climate of the city allows you to grow cherries here, thanks to which Zug has been famous for cherry products for several centuries. For example, Kirsch, Etterkirsch, is a traditional schnapps that is made from cherries. This product, with 150 years of history, is made only in Zug. And for those who love Swiss pastries, there is also a cake with a Kirsch. This cake is made from biscuit cookies, similar to almond biscuits, Kirsch syrup, and cream with Kirsch, and sprinkled with powdered sugar. Despite the fact that this cake comes from Zug, it is probably the only one that is sold everywhere in Switzerland. You can wander for a long time through the cobbled streets in the old town, enjoy the tart taste of the traditional cherry cake with liqueur. But it's time for us to say goodbye. My favorite city in Switzerland, the city of Lucerne. I dream of living there, even though for many, this city is too small and too touristy. I wonder if you like it. Be sure to write in the comments. Lucerne is located on the shores of a lake named Vierwaldstätter See in central Switzerland. The city has a population of almost 60,000 people. Traditions and modernity coexist closely in Lucerne. It's not just a city of churches and squares with houses adorned with extraordinary frescoes, but it's also a city that has gained fame for its modern architecture. A multitude of attractions, souvenir shops, watch stores and its picturesque location attract tourists from all over the world. It's difficult to pinpoint the exact date of Lucerne origin, around the 12th century. Lucerne was the first city to join the Swiss Confederation and had the potential to become the capital. However, its residents voted against adopting the federal constitution in 1848, so Bern eventually became the capital of Switzerland. The city's history can be read through the names of its miniature cobblestone squares: Hirschenplatz, Dier Square, Löwenplatz, Line Square, Kornmarkt, Grain Market, and Weinmarkt, Wine Market. Lucerne is one of the most beautiful cities in Switzerland, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Many Swiss people do too. It's no wonder that the city is especially beloved by tourists. There's truly a lot to see here. It's not just Pilatus Mountain or the picturesque Kapellbrücke Bridge. There's much more to explore. Lucerne is rich in attractions, and it's best to explore them on foot. The Old Town is a small pedestrian zone. A stroll through the city center usually starts from the iconic wooden bridge, Kapellbrücke. The bridge connects the shores of Reuss River. This bridge, with its wooden roof, is the oldest in Europe and was built in the early 14th century as part of the city's fortifications. In the early 17th century, the bridge transformed into an artistic gallery with paintings depicting episodes from the city's history and its residents, displayed on its trusses. In 1993, the bridge suffered a severe fire that destroyed many of the antique paintings. Luckily, the octagonal water tower of Wasserturm survived. It once served as a treasury, an archive, and even a prison. After restoration, the bridge regains its traditional appearance, recognizable from hundreds of photographs. Several times a week, a market is held on the banks of the Reuss River. Here you can not only purchase fresh fish from the local lake, but also try various delicacies, including dairy and meat products, fresh baked goods, as well as a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. In the heart of historic city lies Weinmarkt Square, famous for its colorful facades. From here you can walk to Kornmarkt Square, where the building of the town hall stands. It was constructed in the early 17th century, following the medieval tower model, and represents a synthesis of Italian Renaissance and local architectural traditions. In Lucerne, remnants of the ancient city walls and the Musikmauer towers have been preserved. In ancient times, its length was almost 900 meters. 4 out of the original 9 towers are open for visitors in the summer. Rothenburger House deserves special attention. It's the oldest wooden residential building in Switzerland, over 5 centuries old. The house is located next to the main city cathedral, Hofkirche. The large Hofkirche is situated on the site of Lucerne's first monastery and houses a magnificent organ with 2,826 pipes. It's said that the organ is so skillfully designed and crafted that it can even replicate the sound of rain and thunder. If you wish to touch real history, I recommend visiting Lucerne's oldest pharmacy, known since 1833. Apart from a wide range of medicines, you can also purchase various types of tea, herbal mixtures, ointments, and creams here. On Delmerstrasse, you'll find the famous Lion Monument, a work by Danish sculptor Albert Thorvaldsen. It commemorates the heroic death of the Swiss guards who defended Louis XVI during the storming of the Tuileries Palace in 1792. Mark Twain famously referred to this monument as the most mournful and moving piece of stone in the world. Nearby you can find the entrance to the Park Museum, Gletschergarten. Here you'll discover fossils from glaciers and drill cores from a depth of 9 meters. Additionally, the museum presents findings from the prehistoric era and a unique cross-section of alpine fauna. Next to the sculpture of the Dying Lion is the Alpino Museum. The museum showcases the most beautiful panorama of the Alps and the famous mountains of the country. You can virtually ascend Pilatus Mountain or enjoy the panorama of Gornegrad. In a sense, you can take a mountain walk without leaving the city center. One of the largest panoramic paintings in Europe, the Bourbaki panorama, is also located in Lucerne. The total area is just over 1,000 square meters. The painting encircles a central platform, and even the building was constructed specifically for this panorama. The canvas was painted in 1889 by Edward Castrus and is dedicated to the flight to Switzerland for the recovery of the French army during the Franco-Prussian War, as it bled heavily. A cup of coffee with delicious desserts at the local Café Heine is simply a must-have for all travelers. Since 1957, they've been spoiling visitors with fresh pastries, exquisite cakes, and outstanding chocolate creations. Near the train station, on the grounds of the former Palace of Arts, you'll find the Culture and Congress Center designed by the famous French architect Jean Nouvel. This impressive complex includes a huge concert hall where music festivals take place. The center also houses the rich collections of the Art Museum. The Bahnhofplatz Square is connected to the lakeside Schweizer Hofquai by the Seebrücke Bridge. From this bridge you can enjoy a remarkable panorama of the city, the lake, and the surrounding mountains. The main landmark on this panorama are Mountain Pilatus and of course Mountain Rigi, both accessible by cable car. The beauty of Lucerne was described by Leo Tolstoy. In the foreground stretched a panorama of moist, fresh green shores with reeds, meadows, gardens and villas. Farther away, the dark green wooden heights, crowned with ruins of feudal castles. In the background, the rolling, pale lila-colored vista of mountains, with fantastic peaks, build-up of crags and pallid, snow-capped summits. And everything was bathed in a fresh, transparent azure atmosphere and kindled by the warm rays of the setting sun, bursting forth through the river skies. The writer stayed at the Schweizer Hotel, which still exists today. Right on the lakeshore stands the luxurious Grand Hotel National, just a 5-minute walk from the train station and the Old Town. This legendary luxury hotel in Lucerne was originally built in the 1870s by architects Cesar Ritz and Auguste Escoffier. To this day, the Grand Hotel offers guest top-class rooms, culinary delights, and wonderful music at the bar. The most unusual hotel in Lucerne, Barabbas Lucerne, is located in the former central prison. The prison cells and the warden office have been transformed into rooms and apartments. The hotel is a 3-minute walk from the Old Town, and the bed in a communal 6-person room will cost you around 50 Swiss francs. In this city, everyone will find something of interest. Lovers of history will be captivated by the old painted houses, wooden medieval bridges, and the fortress wall. Shopping enthusiasts will encounter numerous shops in the pedestrian area. Romantics can enjoy the romantic lakeside and cozy restaurants, and cruises through the picturesque spot on the lake await. I hope you enjoyed today's walk through Lucerne. If you did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Bellinzona is the capital of Switzerland's canton of Ticino. The population of the city is almost 45,000 people who speak mainly Italian. Bellinzona is strategically positioned in the narrow part of the Ticino Valley on the way to the Alpine passes of Sangata, San Bernardino and Lukmanier. Depending on the travel and direction, the city is either a gateway to Italy or the keyhole to the Alps. Bellinzona is a very picturesque city, and you just want to walk along its streets for hours looking at richly decorated houses and beautiful churches. The history of Bellinzona is inextricably linked with the history of three fortified castles: Castelgrande, Montebello Castle, and Sasso Carbaro. Today, let's walk together through the Castelgrande Castle. It is the most majestic of the three fortified castles of Bellinzona. In 2000, it was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Castelgrande is very popular among tourists and for good reason. Despite the fact that the castle has been rebuilt many times in its history and perhaps little has remained of the former power at the present time, it is here, walking along the walls of the castle, you can so easily get the feeling of the history, understand and imagine how castles, fortresses looked like in the Middle Ages. Along with two other castles, Montebello Castle and Sasso Carbaro, which were built a little bit later, Castelgrande protected its residents and defenders, withstanding long sieges and attacks. The interior of the castle had plenty of space for provisions, allowing it to withstand any attacks from enemies. Castelgrande is located on a rocky hill and can be reached by two different ways. You can get here either by foot, climbing the steep, narrow streets from the old part of Bellinzona, or by arriving to Piazza del Sole, what we did, and then taking an elevator to the castle itself. It was due to its location on a rocky hill that this was an unassailable fortress. Inside, residents felt completely safe. To capture the castle, the enemy needed a long and carefully planned siege, and if the army was advancing from the south, then it was instantly attacked by the defenders of the fortress. The history of this castle began in the distant 13th century, when the foundation of the Castel Grande was laid. By the way, based on the elements of the oldest buildings found by the archaeologists, it was proven that the first structures created by the Romans appeared at the beginning of the 1st century AD. Additionally, the archaeologists discovered that there were numerous buildings erected from the 11th to the 15th century inside the castle walls, which were demolished at a later stage in order to free the inner territory of the castle. The castle was reconstructed and expanded several times. During the reign of the Dukes of Milan in the 15th century, the castle of Castel Grande was thoroughly fortified. The walls were raised and the western wall was restored and connected to the city walls. The current appearance is the result of the last 20th century restorations carried out under the direction of the architect Aurelio Galfetti. Throughout its long history, the castle changed several times. For example, prior to the 13th century it was called the Citadel. In the 14th century the castle was called Castrum Magnum or Castel Grande for the first time. But during the Swiss rule in 1630, the castle was also called Uri or Altdorf Castle, and in 1818 was named as the Castle of Saint-Michel. The castle is famous for its two towers, black and white. The elegant 27-meter white tower of Castel Grande is considered to be the oldest building located on the territory of the castle. You can enjoy a wonderful panoramic view from here. In the Black Tower there is an escape room. Thus, all those who like to play can look into it. The fortress wall that connects these two towers forms a spacious courtyard. Currently, the castle is a museum that everyone can visit. Inside, you can see the objects found by archaeologists in the area. The old armory building, where weapons were kept in the 19th century, is now transformed to a cozy restaurant, which to this day pleases its visitors. It's nice to go with your family to such a restaurant where you can not only try delicious food prepared with fresh seasonal ingredients, but also enjoy an incredible atmosphere and stunning views. I'm sure you will get tremendous pleasure if you do decide to relax in this wonderful place after an exciting excursion. Bellinzona is one of my favorite cities in Switzerland. It's very cozy, really interesting. I just want to come back here again and again. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to like this video. It's not difficult for you, right? But pleasant for me. See you again very soon. Bye bye.